about how to prepare to move to a 55 plus community. Now, today I'm not going to do any big top 10 greatest worst list or anything like that, not the 3 top things to think about. What I want to do is kind of dig in with you guys and figure out what is making you want to move, and if you do want to move, how should you approach it? So stick around and we'll get started right now. First, let's talk about your why. What is your why? Oh, that sounds kind of weird, almost like who's on first. Now, everybody at our age knows that old comedy routine, Abbott and Costello. If you don't know Abbott and Costello, you're probably too young to be watching this video. So go check out a younger YouTube real estate agent. But my age, I watched a lot of Abbott and Costello growing up as a kid. And so what is your why makes sense to me. Your why is what is driving you, what is compelling you, what's your reason for all of this. So what I would advise you is to think about some of these things that I'm going to talk about today. Maybe even get a little notebook. Now, if you're like me, I have 80 million notebooks all over my house because they're cute, and some of them are cute. Others are just spiral notebooks that I get on sale after the school supply rush is over. You can pick them up for, sometimes 25 cents. And I just like to jot down little notes in there, things that I think of, things that I want to do. Just that's where I keep all of my lists and my goals and my ideas are on these various little notebooks. So might be good for you to grab one of those and just start making some notes as you think of these things in the coming months when you're pondering this move. Now, if you've come to this channel or to this video, maybe this is your first time to see me, welcome. If you've been here before, please subscribe. I'm trying to get my numbers up, and I know that a huge number of you are not subscribers. All you need to do is click the subscribe button, and then you can hit the bell if you want to be notified of any videos when I post them. It really helps the algorithm and my channel. So that's my little commercial for now. But let's move on and talk about some of the things that you should be thinking about, or that you can think about when you're getting ready to make this move. Now, many of you have worked hard for many, many years, and you're approaching retirement or starting to think about it, or maybe you've just retired and you don't quite know what to do or where to go. These are things that you're going to want to start thinking of. And again, the notebook thing will help you organize your thoughts. Some of you might have a few years before you're moving. Some of you are coming next week. And so it's good to start putting those thoughts down on paper. In the days of our parents, and in my case, our grandparents, a adult or active adult community was just called a retirement community because everybody there was retired. Now we lean towards the terms 55 plus, meaning anybody over 55 can live there. Some of them are 45 plus, actually. We're seeing more and more of that. But the real big word is active adult community. Most of these communities are built around activities. So there are a lot of things that you're going to want to think about before you even know where to go to search for the right community. First, let's go through some logical questions that might help you start to narrow things down a little bit for your particular situation. I guess the first thing I would ask is, are you still going to work? You need to ask yourself, am I done working? Am I going to retire? Am I going to change jobs? Am I going to work remotely? Those things will figure into, first of all, where you live. If you are able to work remotely or you do traveling in your job, being near a good airport is going to be a big factor. Phoenix and Tucson both have great airports. Las Vegas has a good airport. Dallas-Fort Worth, good airport. We can figure that out for you. But you need to know how much money you've got to play with. If you're fully retired, then your income's going to go down. If you're thinking about getting a mortgage might be good to move and get that mortgage before you actually retire. Because once you quit working, they frown on giving loans to unemployed people unless you've got a huge amount of assets. So that's one of the first things to think about. Also, if you are still working, let's say you work remotely, what kind of space do you need in your home? Maybe you need an office. Maybe you need 2 offices if you and your spouse or partner are still working. So that is one critical piece of the puzzle that I want you to start preparing for. Now, back to the airport thing. Do you need a major airport? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Again, if you're working and you're traveling for work, probably going to need an airport with a lot of nonstop or at least direct flights, maybe even in some international flights. The Phoenix airport has daily nonstop to London, and I think seasonally, at least a while back, I don't know if it's still going, but they had nonstop to Germany. So that can be important for your commute. So keep that in mind. The other reason the airport is important is people want to come see you. They will be flying in, especially in the winter. Maybe your adult kids, your grandkids, maybe your friends who live where you're at right now want to come see you. Or maybe you need to be able to hop a quick flight to get back to them. Maybe your kids have had young children and they're in a bind, somebody is sick or has a surgery and you need to go take care of them. Having a good big-sized airport, maybe not mega-size, but with enough flights that you can hop on one pretty quick and easily, is a critical piece of your puzzle. So be thinking about that. Will you need or want an airport? Now, the next thing might seem a little weird, but I'm just going to say it. What kind of people do you want to meet or hang out with when you move? A lot of you that I talk to have lived in the same place for many, many years, decades, multiple decades. So your friend group is set. Or maybe your friend group revolves around your current church or your workplace or even the country club you belong to where you're at now. You want to think about what kind of people you're going to want to meet here. Do you want active people? You can probably find those in a 55 plus community. Do you want party people? We have a lot of those. Do you want people who are goers and doers? Lots and lots of those people in active adult 55 plus communities as well. Now, sometimes I do hear that, I think it'll be hard to meet friends. Everybody knows everybody. Trust me, that's not the case. You will have to leave your house and make an effort, though. That's part of moving to a new place and this big life change. If you think that people are just going to magically show up at your door, they will not. But you will meet lots of people when you get out there into the community. It might be you just take a needlepoint class or an art class or some golf lessons. Lots of ways to just connect with new people. And pretty quick, you'll find who you're attracted to and who is attracted to you so that you can start to form your network of new friends. The other thing that I like is that people in these communities do tend to be a little more adventurous. If they weren't adventurous, they wouldn't have come here. So that is, I think, a big plus when you're trying to meet people. If they're well-traveled, gives you a good conversation point, and maybe you're a traveler too, and you can talk about where you've been, where you want to go. There will always be somebody to give you tips on cool things to do locally and far away. So being around outgoing, adventurous people might really be a plus for you in this new lifestyle. Now, while we're on the subject of new, we just talked about new friends. Let's talk about new things. What new things are you interested in doing? Some people might phrase it, I'm going to take up blank when I move to my new place. Maybe you've always wanted to be a golfer, but you were too busy working and you didn't have time, or the weather wasn't good, or you didn't belong to a country club, or it was too expensive or something. This could be a great time to try out that new sport. Maybe you want to try pickleball. Pickleball is an excellent place because that sport has graduated levels. So if you're a newbie to the sport, they have new classes and you can be ranked at the beginner level. You're just going to play with other beginners. So there's not going to be any judgment or fear that you might have. Others might be judging you, oh, you're not good enough, or you missed a shot, or something like that, because those people that you're playing with, they're just as new as you are, and they don't know anybody either. So maybe pickleball or another sport is your connecting point. Same thing with arts and crafts or woodworking. You want to find some commonality. All of those things are available in most of these communities. Now, tagging on to that, if you really have something that you're interested in, maybe you are already into golf or you're into pickleball. If you're really into golf, we need to make sure you're in the right community that will have the right kind of golf for you. Or even if it's a smaller community, I can tell you about all of the golf courses that are very, very near that particular community. And we do have some that are like that. Maybe they don't have a golf course, but there's one right across the road. That way you're not paying for it in your HOA. So golf is a big one. Again, pickleball. I have one YouTube family member and he knows who he is. He really wants to know every community, how many pickleball courts? Super important thing. If that is your sport, you don't want to go to a community that only has 4 or 0 courts. You want the one that has 36 with more planned. By the way, that would be Pebble Creek. I just heard the other day that they are adding even more pickleball courts now on top of the 20 new ones that are being built. So pickleball there is a big, big thing. They've got over 1,500 people just in the pickleball club alone. So if you want to really get into a good group and you've thought, hey, maybe I want to try pickleball, or you already play pickleball, that is an excellent place to start. And that community, I would say, ranks number 1, at least here in Arizona, for pickleball and the opportunities to play and connect with others. Now, the next big thing is going to be, what do you want in your home? Now, this is going to be a life change for a lot of people. And sometimes in Zooms and calls I have with people from our YouTube family, they will be throwing out these random numbers. I can't have less than 2,500 square feet, or I have to have, a formal dining room. They're throwing out all these things, but I think they're thinking old thoughts from their old style of home. First of all, you're probably not going to bring all of that furniture from your old home to your new life. So be planning that. What things can you absolutely not give up? And what things do you want to ditch because you raised 3 kids who jumped all over that couch? That's what happened to me. I raised 2 boys. Didn't want to bring that old furniture. It was not productive financially to even put that on a moving truck. So I sold my house furnished and bought new stuff that worked for the home that I have here. So think about the furnishings, then think about, what is your lifestyle going to be? Chances are you're not going to be having all those big family gatherings that you may be having now or have had in the past. Again, going back to raising a family, I would always be the one who would host the big family dinners. I no longer do that. I don't care. I can hardly even cook a meal for one. Pulling off a meal for the family has become very challenging for me, and probably because I'm just over it. I don't want to do it anymore. So you'll find that you're having less and less family gatherings, especially as your kids get married. They want to do things in their home. Maybe for Thanksgiving, you're either A, going to jump on a plane and go see them, or B, be like me and go to the buffet at the casino and not have to deal with any of it. So your lifestyle will change no matter what you think is going to happen. There are going to be big changes. One thing you will want to think about, of course, is guest space. Like I mentioned before, you will have guests, and maybe you need 2 offices now in your home. The den would be one. Then maybe that second bedroom is a guest room with a Murphy bed that folds down for that short time now and then that you do have guests, and the rest of the time you can use it as your office space. That is something critical that you will want to think about. I have very few people who don't need at least one small guest space. The next thing I want you to know, and this comes into play when we're talking about our square footage requirements, when people throw those random numbers at me, our houses here might be 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. If we see stuff in these communities that gets to 2,400, 2,500, it almost becomes too large. According to most of my clients, they like to keep it a little smaller. One of the reasons we can get away with that, though, is outdoor living space. Most homes will have some sort of patio or courtyard area where you'll have an outdoor sofa. We have whole furniture stores here just for outdoor furniture. Imagine that. We really didn't have that where I'm from in Colorado, because who would buy that? Maybe a patio set, but certainly not expensive sofas. So you may also have an outdoor TV, an outdoor fireplace, or a fire pit table. You're going to be outside quite a lot of the time. And so that is not square footage that's included when we're looking at homes like online. If you go to Zillow or the MLS listings that I send you, that's not going to be computed. So keep that in the back of your mind, that even though that number on the page is a little smaller, we've got a good sized living area for you outside. Also a great place for entertaining. If you have out of town guests that are from a cold climate, I don't care if it's 65 degrees and you're freezing, they're going to want to be out on that patio because they're on vacation and they want to post those pictures on social media to their friends back home who are sitting in 12 inches of snow. It's just a really big deal here all winter long and even part of the summer. One of the biggest things we need to talk about is your timeline. I get calls and emails from some of you who say, hey, I watch your videos. I love you. I'm 10 years out. Great. Watch the videos and start making your plan now. Put a picture of the areas that you like on your fridge so you can set a goal and visualize yourself on that golf course or at that pool eventually. I love when you guys reach out to me. Now, others of you that reach out to me are 2 to 4 years out. Still a little ways, but not too early to start planning. 2 years to 4 years to some people would be like, oh yeah, that's way too far off. I'm not even going to talk to that client. My team and I love to talk to you because that's how we keep you out of, I hate to use the word trouble, but really trouble in maybe choosing a wrong community, choosing a wrong area, city, price range, all of that. Maybe you need to visit a few places and do that at a leisurely pace while you've still got time and you're not having to make a decision right away. I think though the sweet spot for really digging into these plans seems to be about 18 to 24 months. That gives you time if you decide, oh, we want to build a new home. You could visit 2 or 3 different cities, or if you've already narrowed it down to one, that makes it super easy. Then all we need to do is go through this other checklist of, lifestyle, community amenities, price range. Boom, we can find your property. But sometimes it might take you 2 or 3 visits even to the main place you've decided to move to, because you need to see it in a different light, through a different lens. The first time you go, it's a big area you don't know. Then you go home and you think of things, oh, let's go back, let's explore another option. So you might make more than one visit before you finally decide to build or purchase a home. So 18 to 24 months is great to do that. Less than that, we can still easily do it. I have people that call me up and say, I'm going to be in town in 3 days. Can you help me? Yes, of course we can help you. We will still be able to hopefully block out time to work with you and show you different areas. Maybe you've done some research or you used to live here or something, and that's super helpful. We can help you no matter what your time frame is, but the key point here is to start the process. Start thinking. Again, don't feel bad if you want to call me and do a Zoom if you're 4 or 5 years out. I'll totally meet with you because I can make suggestions, I can learn about you, and that will help us put together your entire plan. Once you've had time to think about a lot of these things that we've talked about today, What is the next step? Well, obviously the next step is to reach out to me at the number or email below on the screen. And let's set a time to talk by Zoom or by FaceTime so that we can get to know each other and I can see how my team and I might fit into your plan. I can also refer you to mortgage lenders or finance professionals to help you with your planning and decision-making process. But the first step, of course, is make that call. Now, I know that not everybody who calls me and does a Zoom is actually going to move here. Of course not. You're in a fact-finding phase. So don't feel like you're bothering us or we won't want to talk to you. Of course we do. We know that a lot of you are going to move. And worst case, we form a good relationship for the future. So if this kind of hits home with you today, I would love to hear from you so that we can get started on crafting your individual plan for your next chapter of life in an active adult 55 plus community. I'm really looking forward to talking to you soon.